This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. It was a nightmare.
Flight 807, you're clear for landing. Runway 7, Bravo. All personnel report to the nearest tornado shelter. This is not a drill.
If you need help, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.
Good morning and welcome to this week's edition of The Mediator with me, your host, Brian West, here to give you the top 8 headlines and developing news stories that made it this week. Now, as usual, I give you the top 8 local headlines and developing news stories that made it first, followed by a movie clip, a skit, a trailer, or something that's going on in the community, or maybe some pictures. And then I'll give you the top 8 international headlines and developing news stories that made it, folks. So let's waste no time. Ooh, yeah, sounds like a good deal. Let's get to it. Story number 1. Bell Creek Park in more news. Bell Creek Park hit a snag on its bike trail ambitions. Now, the Bell Creek Park Metro Parks Board of Commissioners is asking the Ohio Supreme Court if it can reverse a decision by the appeals court finding that the Metro Parks did not have authority to use eminent domain to acquire property for the third phase of the bikeway. Now, the issue in this story sparks more discussions about force. That's the big word, force, and taking private property, then converting it into public use. This story is still developing. That's why I made it this week. Story number 2. Growth and ARP funds to 3 police forces. Just like the headline reads, according to a local Vindicator article, 3 police departments in the Mahoning County have been awarded grants to retain and recruit officers to combat violence. The funds to beef up forces will come from the American Rescue Plan. $3.9 million will go to 16 law enforcement agencies in the form of grants. Now, pressure has been on law enforcement agencies to get a grip on the increase in crime. The story is still developing. Story number 3. Deep debt. Story number 3. 5.5 million is the number after a report surfaced about a public hearing set for July 7th on whether the sale of the Jackson-Milton Metro Water District will have to make some changes. Now, the report goes on to explain how the district has been losing about $600,000 annually in recent years. The article says that the solution is to double its rates to 1,350 of its customers. They're going to double rates to all those customers in Jackson, Milton, and in their townships, Jackson and Milton townships. So this is the article does emphasize difficulties within the water business locally, but really shines a lot of light on this debt issue that Jackson Milton is facing, and it doesn't seem to get any better. This story is still developing. Story number 4. Could we finally be over COVID-19? For 2 weeks in a row, updates about the state of the COVID-19 battle has been good. Case numbers are falling, thus giving local leaders a reason to adjust their COVID-19 strategy and leading many to wonder if it's time to claim victory over COVID-19 yet. Now, with over 1 million deaths nationwide, the state was forced to shut down by Governor Mike DeWine, if we can remember, but I'm sure we all will remember that, sparking concerns about overreaction. But with things slowly getting back to normal, the talk now is about progress and if we could finally be seeing an end to the COVID-19 saga. That's why story number 4 made it this week. Story number 5. The drug war is still making local news. After a 3-month-old tested positive for cocaine, many are still debating about the local war on drugs. Drugs continue to play a huge part in overdose deaths, spikes in crime activity, and complete degradation of local life, thus stalling potential growth. Drugs poison people. That's a fact. And due to continued local news and circulation, drugs continue to create a toxic local environment that is hindering progress. That's why story number 5 made in this week. Big hit. Story number 6. Will arming. I was about to say aiming, but I guess that's a form of arming. Will arming teachers solve the problem? After the mass shooting in Texas, new firearm laws will allow Ohio teachers to start arming themselves as early as the fall. The bill signed into law by Governor DeWine has sparked some discussion on how effective this would be. The law requires up to 24 hours of training before an employee can arm up and up to 8 hours of annual training. Also added to that, the training programs must be approved by the Ohio School Safety Center, and will allow schools to provide any extra training if they need be, their choices. Now, the local report does emphasize that any decisions to arm are completely optional for teachers and are not a requirement, as stated by Governor DeWine. That's why story number 6 almost made it to the top 2 this week. Big hit. Story number 7 at the top 2 local headlines and developing news stories that made it this week. Why threat city leaders? Not treat them kindly and give them love, but why threat them? That's a big headline. That's what made the top 2 this week. Threatening city leaders. How about that? Why Youngstown City Council members go remote is the question. Why go remote? They go remote because they've been threatened, and it has everything to do with threats made to hunt them down. A threat to hunt them down. That's a city official. The threats are under investigation after emails were sent to city council members stating that they would be hunted down. That's scary. These threats brought in the FBI to investigate, and at the moment, no arrests have been made. One local article even mentions the fact that whoever sent the email did mention home locations of some council members. This story is still developing and still asks the question on why threaten city officials or city council members. That is a big question. Story number 8 and the top local headline and developing news story that made it this week. Top story. Big headline. Woo, made it. More violence and more pressure to get it under control. More pressure to get violence under control. More violence and more pressure to get it under control, folks. Shootouts in Liberty, Youngstown City Council on guard after threats. These are just a few more stories adding to the pressure within the city to get violence under control. The story has to be approached from a problem-solving standpoint. Is it repeat offenders committing these crimes? That's one question. Is it gang violence? That's another question. Do any of these crimes have anything to do with retaliations? That's another question. What are the key motives causing people to commit local unsettledness? That's another question. Then you have to look at the solutions. Does the city need harsher penalties? That's another question. Do prosecutors need to be a little bit tougher? That's another question. Does the city need more programs and jobs to keep citizens busier? Or does the city need a culture shift? These are all questions that need to be answered in the story, and why it made to the top this week, because the attention is now on violence in the city. It's hindering it from reaching the big city on the hill with progress. Well, folks, those are our top 8 local headlines and developing news stories that made this week. I'll be right back with top 8 international headlines, so don't you go anywhere. The meter, be Brian West. I'll be right back.
What does Method8Inc.com Media Center have that I need?
Small prints, event consulting, photography, business consulting, technical consulting, entertainment consulting, fundraising advice, event videography, movies, news, publishing, media, books, entertainment, acting, broadcasting, public relations, access to the visual and performing arts, ink and black ink refills, audio recording, graphic design, theater, minor computer and cell phone repair, and they're located at 5648 Market Street in Boardman, Ohio from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. every Monday through Friday. The list goes on and on.
Method8Inc.com. Buy stuff, watch stuff, or read stuff.
Oh yeah! And yes, we are chipmunks.
Tune in and don't forget to subscribe to Method 8 Inc. YouTube channel. You can also watch free public entertainment. And don't forget to show some support by visiting www.method8inc.com by buying something, clicking something, watching something, or just reading something. You can also sponsor a program as well. That's www.method8inc.com. Buy stuff, watch stuff, or read stuff.
We are way out of our league on this one. We are not supposed to be in this deep. We're into some kind of science fiction stuff here. The Field Angels is an investigative unit for youth.
The last thing I heard him talk about was a nucleus or something.
The nucleus is the biggest conspiracy in the field of Canada.
Is it real?
7 years ago, you wanted to be a superhero, and you wanted little kids to be your superhero project.
Kid, get down on the ground now. What are you doing? Put your hands up. Hands up. Get down.
I thought I told you the kid was dead.
When was the last time you had a vacation?
I'm fine. Whoever is controlling this nucleus has found a way to move matter with photon particles.
You mean like a spark?
You apply it to the light, the photon particles, it attracts.
If anything happens to one of these girls, surely they will shut us down.
We lose it right now, big.
You have 24 hours to get back here with that other field angel, or don't bother, because nobody here will have a job.
I have practiced science my entire adult life, Mr. Daniels. That statement you just made makes you sound like an idiot.
What treated?
Somebody want to tell me what's going on?
You know what I hate most of all? An undisciplined child.
Welcome back. Now it's time to get to the top 8 international headlines and developing news stories that made it this week. Folks, are you tired of calling your radio station and feeling like trash because you don't know the answers? You feel less confident? You call in thinking that the radio host is your friend, but you get hung up on? Or you call thinking you know enough but feel like you don't know enough after the call? Well, folks, here's your boost. The Mediator. Giving you the boost that you need and the preparation that you need to call your radio station to be prepared and to be informed. Woo-wee! Heavenly Springs, baby. There's a solution to the problem. Being informed. That's what you'll get in mediation. Well, let's waste no time, folks. Let's get to it. Story number 1. Waiting for justice. Often when a story fades out of the mainstream news, folks, the victim's story also fades away as well. That means there's a lot of unsolved mysteries out there. Now, the reality is that many of these victims are still waiting for justice. The story is a pressure builder because the pressure now is on to growing. The pressure is growing for justice officials and the average citizen to get it together. To do their job and to do it right. Now, citizens are blaming officials while officials are stating facts that citizens are straying away from their civil duty and the goal of a more civil society. So either way, the hand must wash the other. This story is still developing. That's why I made it this week. Story number 2. Analyzing Biden's foreign agenda. Shutting down. We don't want to confuse it. We're shutting down America. That was a decision made some time back. Now, shutting down the Trump America First agenda is another one. Going green is another decision by Biden. Merging back into the global arena, the global agenda, the global plan. That's another decision by Biden. These are just a few of the things under the analytical scope. The microscope, if you want to be exact. Now, here are some headlines applying pressure to the Biden foreign agenda. Ohio Democratic Senator candidate Tim Ryan made headlines after urging Biden to keep China tariffs. This report made Fox News. So, the question in this headline is why, or what's going on? What's the strategy? Another one, Biden goes on the record and blames Putin for inflation and takes credit for deficit declines. The American deficit, the government deficit, thus sparking conversations that he may be beefing up his domestic credit on purpose due to his unpopularity when it comes to foreign and domestic strategy. Another one, with Putin gaining more ground in Ukraine and other nations adjusting their strategy, the global stories are gaining more attention because they're gaining steam, because they continue to affect domestic policy. This story exemplifies a president in crisis mode and could really result in some desperate and unfamiliar news stories in the coming weeks and months. That's why story number 2 made it this week. Story number 3. Will the gun stories ever go away? The answer may be no, folks. Even with the NRA scrapping and scraping for cash and being hit with the continued pressure to create a better bureaucratic gun agenda, the gun stories are real, folks, and they're staying in the headlines. There is also more pressure to change gun laws. But if anything will change is still the question. The fact is that more gun stories will remain in the headlines, and as more stories surface, things will get tougher. But if anything will change remains unknown, even with all these gun stories making headlines. The good thing is that more effort from problem solvers is making headlines and more people are trying, adding to more emphasis in this growing gun saga. That means people are putting forth the effort, so obviously we may get some results. This is story number 3. It's such a big headline. Story number 4. Biden needs a domestic agenda that can sell. That's what they're saying. He needs something that people can get some substance here. Americans are not happy, folks. That's a fact. Prices are soaring, and Biden needs a domestic agenda that can not only sell, but can work if he wants to be reelected or if Democrats want to keep a job. Democrats remain on defense as the pendulum shifts more to the right for solutions. It's clear that the president is now searching for the positives, but at the moment, the American people are looking at the facts. With Build Back Better shelved, the Biden camp is now back at the drawing board trying to find a domestic agenda that can sell and work. The story is still developing. That's why I made it this week. Well, folks, those are our top 4 international headlines and developing news stories that I made this week. I'll be right back with the top 4, so don't you go anywhere. You're the Mediator, me, Brian West. I'll be right back.
Assigned to guard the 4 corners of Escobar, were you not given the duties to rule with an iron fist?
I'm not strong enough anymore.
Who is the leader of the governing board?
Luna, sir. She has been appointed to take the place of her father.
Escobar's governing board is in danger. Our land is producing enough crops to survive.
I can't feed Escobar with dying crops. Magic Lady Nikki, what the hell are you talking about?
She comes at nights and visits me in my sleep.
Hush! I know your story. You can't hurt her anymore. She's coming to you for a reason.
What do you know about my son?
Does this drawing look familiar to you?
That jewel is glowing again, which means something's about to go down.
They want to hand Escobar over to you.
I don't think it would be wise for Luna to put herself in danger at this pivotal time.
Do you doubt me? If we unite now, we'll save our planet and our people.
You have to defend Escobar.
If she's worthy, they won't kill her.
It's gonna be fun. I ain't used him in a minute.
I'm with Luna.
Defend us, Luna. You have my blessing.
And that'll be our ticket to the North Star.
I'll be a new Escobar.
If you want to check out the stories that almost made it in or did make it in, go to our Twitter feed on our website. Check out everything. All of the sources are there. It goes to the website. It's method8inc.com. Welcome back. Welcome back. Now it's time to get to the top 4 international headlines and developing news stories that made it this week. Folks, a long time ago, I thought I was going to be a dad. It is Father's Day, and it's June 19th. And I thought I was going to be an athlete, try to play sports, try to be a father. It turned out it wasn't my time, wasn't my child. Tried to be an athlete till I started hitting the air ball, free throws, and I knew I just couldn't be good enough. I get frustrated every time I would miss a shot. I mean, I just hated missing a shot. And I said, this is what I want to do with my life. I got conflicted by all of the losses on my record and some wins. and a few championships here and there, but the pressure was just too deep. It hurt. So I sat down and I said, Brian, I always had a passion to save the world, save people with something, a message, spreading the gospel or something. Tried being a reverend, but I didn't fit in. I like sitting and I like doing things that make me feel good. I don't want to feel like trash all the time. But so I had to find my place in life. If I wasn't going to be a reverend or some type of athlete or a lawyer or a doctor or make a career, I got injured on active duty, so I couldn't make a career out of the military. I got banged up. So I'm here. And this is my choice. I have nothing else to do but put on my cape every week and present to you the top 8 stories, baby. Woo! Yeah. Woo! It's all I can do. So at least show me some love. Show me some appreciation. And listen and be informed. It's all I have left. I was injured on the battlefield, injured in the game. But now I'm showing up every week off the bench to try to hit the game-winning shot. Woo! Woo-wee. Let's waste no time, folks. This Father's Day, this glorious June 19th, a sign of freedom. It's a mediator's world. Man made the train to carry the heavy load. But after man make everything he can, the mediator made a story for other man. Let's get to it. Story number 5. What did the stimulus checks do, folks? That's a big question. CNBC has a very, very extensive article describing the effects of the stimulus checks. The article serves as a research guide for, even a reference guide for those seeking input on what the stimulus checks accomplish. Some say that the mass movement to get money in the pockets of Americans in a pandemic resulted in present-day inflation, what we see now. But those who study finances and analyzing new data see something different. Like, they see how the IRS was able to function and get those off of the books back on the books with an unplanned incentive. Money. The story also shines a lot of light on the capabilities of the IRS and serves as an innovator for the future of its operation methods and capabilities. The stimulus checks also fueled activity in spending research. Analysts were able to also gather more data on how Americans spend, access money, especially during a financial crisis, and be able to assess their financial literacy. This is a good story worth a read because of all of that's happening for the ripple effect of stimulus checks. Big headline. Story number 6. The inflation battle hasn't reached its tipping point just yet. That's good, right? That's good news. Economists and investment specialists are doing everything to keep their clients calm. It's a big calm is the key word. With the markets shifting to recession talk, economists feel that things will iron out over time. The good thing is that the inflation battle hasn't reached its tipping point just yet. Past market panics, similar to that of the 2008 crisis, proves that the market does heal up over time, if you want to use that type of word. Now, but that is the selling point for economists. Investment specialists are urging their clients to remain calm and weather the storm without any drastic decisions. That means don't panic. The story is still developing. That's why story number 6 almost made it to the top 2 this week. We're talking money, big money. Story number 7 and the top 2 international headlines and developing news stories that made it this week. Whew. Again, all I got is a story. That's all I have left, folks. In the wee hours of the night, as the day turns to night, I am sifting through the news to give you a story. That's all I have to give. I hope it's worth something to you. Story number 7. Is a teacher with a gun a good idea? With kids being exposed to violence early in life, now the discussion is, what will arming a teacher accomplish? The strategy seems simple. Give a good guy a weapon and the bad guy won't have such a big advantage. If this strategy will work is yet to be determined, but the crackdown is on, folks. The crackdown is on. With the pressure on legislators to solve this growing problem, the answer seems to be to beef up those on defense to be able to defend themselves. Legislators are desperate for a solution. Only time will tell how the stories develop. That's why it made it to the top this week. Top 2 this week also made it to the top. Big headline. Story number 8 to the top. International headline and developing news story that made it this week. Celebration time. Come on. I got to stop story for you. Celebration time. Oh. Celebrate. Top story, folks. The evolution of mental health. If I haven't lost my mind before or lose it again, I'm doing everything I can to work on my mental health. I'm taking a deep breath, not getting too angry, returning phone calls with a calm, collective spirit. I'm doing everything to be mentally ready to do whatever I have to do to make other people's mental health better. The field of psychology has never been in a more erratic state, folks. Nowadays, if you want to be exact, everybody seems to have a mental disorder or a mental problem. This story got in after a mental health professional sounded the alarm that the field is exhausted. Those in the field have also been sounding off, and more emphasis is being put on the human being factor, on human beings that have been called to the aid of those in need of a friend or someone to talk to. That means a psychologist. All the people in psychiatric help, all that stuff, the mental field, period. As more crazy stories continue to hit the mainstream news, mental health professionals will continue to get their time in the discussion spaces. That means on the radio, everywhere a mental health expert is welcome to emphasize why people need to practice good mental health habits. Some states are now even offering mental health days off. This story is still developing, folks. Big headlines. When I started made it to the top this week. Practice mental health. And if you think you're going crazy, find somebody like me to tune into, baby. See my smiling face every week. Well, folks, those are our top 8 local and international headlines and developing news stories that made it this week. I hope you got something out of today's program. I always get something out of doing the research. As usual, I'd like to thank all the news outlets, the people on the front lines, the journalists. You deserve all the credit. I'm just a man in the middle, the mediator. If you want to show some support here at Method 8, does not take much. All you have to do is visit the website on the screen, buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or to sponsor a program, or you can stop at the store at 5648 Market Street in Boardman, Youngstown, Ohio, or buy and just stop by, maybe buy something, just shoot the bull with me, show me some love, no matter what. And that's how you do it. Well, folks, I'll be back next week with over 200 more stories just for you. Enjoy your Father's Day, and if you acknowledge June 19th, freedom! Well, folks, that's it. I'm out of here. It's been a long week, but I'm ready for another week with you. Have a good week, everybody. Thank you for tuning to the media. Me, Brian West. Peace.
If you need help, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.